You pray, yet the pressure doesn't lift. The bills still stack up. The temptation still whispers at night, and you secretly wonder if God is even listening. But here is the shocking truth most believers are never told. Difficulty does not mean your prayers are failing. It often means they are working at a deeper level you cannot yet see. You were taught that prayer changes circumstances, but Scripture quietly reveals that prayer first changes alignment. And alignment is uncomfortable because it exposes what has been hidden in you and around you, like fire revealing impurities in gold. When you pray sincerely, you step into God's refining process, not His escape plan. And this is why Jesus Himself prayed with sweat, like drops of blood before the cross, rather than being removed from the trial, because prayer prepared Him to endure what purpose required. Luke 22:44. One hidden reason life remains difficult after you pray is that God is answering you by strengthening you instead of softening the road, fulfilling His own promise that His power is made perfect in weakness, 2 Corinthians 12:9, which is terrifying to the flesh but life-giving to the spirit. You asked for peace, but God allowed pressure to teach you unshakable trust. You asked for clarity, but God allowed silence to sharpen discernment. You asked for deliverance, but God allowed resistance to build spiritual authority, because blessings given without capacity become burdens rather than gifts. Another secretly ignored truth is that prayer often triggers spiritual resistance, not instant relief, because when you begin to pray consistently, you are no longer passive territory. You become contested ground. And this is why the Bible warns that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, Ephesians 6:12. Yet many believers mistake resistance as rejection and retreat right before breakthrough, not realizing that opposition is often confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. Just as Daniel's prayer was answered immediately, but delayed by spiritual warfare he could not see. Daniel 10:12-13. A third uncomfortable insight is that God sometimes allows difficulty to expose idols you pray around, but never surrender, because prayer that asks God to bless what He is trying to remove will always feel unanswered. You pray for financial peace, but cling to pride. You pray for healing, but refuse rest. You pray for direction, but fear obedience. And God, in His mercy, lets the tension remain until surrender happens, because He loves you too much to reinforce what will eventually destroy you, echoing the warning of James 4:3, that you ask and don't receive because your motives are misaligned. There is also a deeper, more mysterious reason life stays hard even when you pray faithfully. God is training you for weight you have not yet been shown, because future influence requires present endurance, and heaven prepares its servants quietly through pressure, obscurity, and repetition. The same way Joseph prayed in prison, David prayed in caves, and Paul prayed with a thorn still present, all discovering that purpose matures in confinement before it manifests in freedom. Romans 8:28 is not a comfort verse for ease, but a covenant for transformation, promising that God works all things together for good. Not all things feel good. And this is a warning to anyone who thinks prayer is a shortcut around growth rather than a doorway into it. You must also confront the possibility that prayer is not meant to make life easier, but to make you truer. Because an easy life can coexist with a shallow faith, but a tested life produces spiritual depth, discernment, humility, and authority that comfort alone never will. When you pray and hardship remains, God may be stripping you of self-reliance so that your confidence rests fully in Him, fulfilling Proverbs 3:5-6, in a way that theory never could, because trusting God with all your heart is learned in moments when logic fails and outcomes are uncertain. There is a warning here for anyone who prays only to escape discomfort. Unanswered prayer is often misinterpreted when the real issue is that God is answering at the level of your character rather than your comfort, because destiny requires alignment, and alignment is painful when your will and God's will collide. This is why Jesus prayed, "Not my will, but yours be done," before relief came through resurrection rather than rescue, revealing a kingdom pattern that suffering precedes glory. 1 Peter 5:10. You also cannot ignore the sobering reality that prayer exposes spiritual immaturity, because when hardship persists, it reveals whether your faith is transactional or relational. Do you pray to get something from God, or to walk with God through everything? Because Scripture promises His presence, not perpetual ease. Isaiah 43:2. And presence does not remove fire, it sustains you within it. Another hidden layer is timing, not as delay, but as divine sequencing. Because God often answers prayer in stages you mislabel as stagnation, pruning before growth, silence before instruction, endurance before expansion. And if He revealed the full outcome too early, you would rely on the promise instead of the promiser, breaking the very trust He is building. This is why prayer sometimes feels like shouting into the void while life presses harder, because God is developing spiritual hearing in you, teaching you to recognize His voice beyond emotional reassurance, shaping a faith that walks by conviction rather than sensation. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Here is the decisive truth most believers avoid. Difficulty after prayer is not a sign to pray less, but to pray deeper. Not asking God to change everything around you, but asking Him to reveal what He is forming within you. Because the moment you stop measuring prayer by immediate outcomes and start measuring it by transformation, everything shifts. Prayer becomes less about control and more about surrender, less about escape and more about endurance, less about timing and more about trust. If you are praying and life is still hard, it may be because God sees something in you worth refining, something strong enough to carry influence, responsibility, and impact without being corrupted by ease. And this is both a calling and a warning. You can either grow bitter, assuming God has ignored you, or grow wiser, recognizing that heaven is shaping you quietly for something weighty. The challenge is simple but costly. Stop asking why prayer hasn't removed the struggle, and start asking what the struggle is removing from you. Because when you finally align with what God is doing, rather than resisting how He is doing it, you will realize that your prayers were never unanswered. They were answered in the only way that would not break you later. Thank you for watching. If you find this video interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel to support me. If you want to receive more messages to strengthen your faith, please subscribe and walk with me in the truth of the Lord.